I'd rather be dry, but at least I'm alive. It's VGC, the video game podcast, episode 106.7. It's me, Jordan Riddler, alongside Chris Scullion. This week we're being scanned into the GT Cafe, but first, how's it going, Chris? Strong start so far.
I resign from VGC. Yeah, strong start. Not so much a strong start today. It's the Easter holidays now.
Yeah.
Here in Scotland. Well, everywhere, I suppose.
God rest
so
them.
the kids been at like an Easter camp thing all week, like where they just basically run riot. But today she's back in the house, so it's taking all my strength to get her out of the room for an hour so we can record this. So any carnage you may hear in the background is just her.
Look, she's
expressing her free will.
She's got reviews today. She's got guys today. She needs to get on with it. Question about Jesus. Did
JC?
Big JC. Right, so he does his Jesus stuff. They get him, they shank him, they stick him up on the big X, like Wolverine. And then a couple of days later, they go to find him. Tomb is empty. So they say. So
are you questioning?
It's not for me to question. Tomb is empty. So they say, is the implication that he came back to life and went back upstairs, or what's the story here? Because presumably back in those days, back in Yoda times, bodies were getting stolen and God knows what it's done to them. So how do we know that Jesus' body is not just in somebody's under the stairs cupboard?
You're outing me here because it's been a very long time since I went through the whole the process of what happened here. This is get drilled into our heads at school.
Yeah.
Every Easter, here's what happened. I believe he rolled the stone.
Right. So
he was crucified. They brought him down. God rest him, quite literally. Put him inside a tomb, rolled a big stone over it. And a few days later, they came back to see him, to cry out the stone. The stone was moved. He was off ski. And all that. And then he came back again, and that's when he had the stigmata and stuff, because nobody believed it was Jesus. He was like, mate, my hands are red raw.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell by I've got a wee scar in my wee ribs. I've got holes in my hands.
How do we know he wasn't just playing Mario Party on the Nintendo 64 and getting at that with a controller?
That's true. Like the N64 analog stick, I think, was in St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians, where he was like, mate, I told you to get a PlayStation.
Of course, we all remember Pontius Pilate wings. Come on now.
That's twice now. I've seriously reconsidered my career.
So I've got the key events of Jesus' final days thanks to AI. So we've got arrest and trial.
Oh God.
It gets done up. It gets fitted up by the Rosals, right? It's in fact the Roman governor Pontius Pilate wings that orders his execution. Crucifixion, mocked, whipped, crowned a the whole shebang. You know that story. He's dead. He sings with Eric Idle. Next, burial. Joseph of Arimathea goes, where's his body? Let me whack it up in this tomb. Then he gets resurrected on Easter Sunday, has a bit of chocolate. And then 40 days later, apparently, the rest of the crew sees him float away like Poochie in The Simpsons. That is the story of Jesus Christ. So,
do you know what and there's a tasteless answer to this, but like a tasteless punchline to this, but I'm not going to tell it. I'm actually the genuine, like, do you know what the INRI means on top of the crucifix?
INRI. I don't, tell me.
So it's Latin. I used to know this, but I'm now having to look it up again because I forgot it. So it's Isis. So like, because you remember in Indiana Jones and the Lost Crusade, like they try and spell Jehovah, and the guy falls and dies because you have to spell it with an I instead of a J for some reason.
Is that not the name of that Kanye West album, Isis?
I wouldn't know. I don't listen to that gut rot. Yeah. So it's Isis Nazarenus. Rex Eoderum, which means Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. It was mocking him, they put a wee plaque on saying, this boy thinks he's God's son. What a prick.
This boy thinks he's the king of the Jews. He's the king of holes in his hands, mate.
But the thing, because I always used to laugh at that, because not because he died, which is obviously tragic for everyone involved, but the fact they said Jesus the Nazarene, and like there's the final conflict, which is the third Omen movie, has Sam Neill looking for basically Sam Neill is like a grown-up Damien type person, and he's looking for the reborn Jesus because Jesus is being reborn. So basically, the plot of the film is that Sam Neill as a grown Damien now employs a bunch of people to go around killing firstborn in case one of them's Jesus, and it ends with him running around an abandoned church just screaming Nazarene. Nazarene. So every time I see Nazarene, I think fair play Sam Neill, the best worst acting I've ever seen.
He's not
Track
the
it down,
Messiah.
kids. The final conflict.
He's a very naughty boy. Other than that, you've been up to much this week? It's been a weird week. Like
it has.
I always feel this way during like holiday time for like school for some reason, and I don't know if that's the case of like people in the games industry taking time off to be with their kids, but it feels like nothing happens when the schools are off, and I don't know what is he getting news for the show this week? I was like, absolutely hee-haws happened this week. It's been so bizarre.
The news has been abysmal this week. It doesn't help that obviously you had Easter, you had Good Friday, the best Friday if you ask me, and then Easter Monday back to back when very few companies, PR companies and stuff like that are working. Very few announcements are being made as a result. So very little news, because usually the news is either this has been announced or people are unhappy at this announcement. And so when neither of those happen, the news just falls off a cliff. And the whole week's just been kind of a case of building back up to that. Last couple of days have been brutal because I've been prepping embargoed stuff for next week. I'm off next week, so it's been kind of doing double shifts to get all that ready. But the kids will see that on the site next week when it's all up and running. Yeah,
a couple of bits and pieces next week. But it's been a weird one. I really feel this around Christmas. Like, to me, the whole PR industry, it gets to the Game Awards, and then after that, they're like, wrap your hands in it, let's just go off for the rest of the year. So that's kind of happened again. But if you'd like to support us doing Hee Haw this week, because there's been no news, you can do so at patreon.com/video games chronicle. Chris, I had this idea, and I'm going to do it on the Patreon maybe later today. I was like, can I name all 1,025 Pokemon in an hour? So there's this website that like basically gives you a big list of them, and you type the name in and it checks it off for you. And I was like, I think up to Diamond and Pearl, I can basically Joe America. I can like basically do the whole sham shimmy. But see, when I get to Sun and Moon, there's some Pokemon that I'm like, not only do I not precisely know your name, there's no chance I can spell your name, and you have to spell it precisely here. So I think the betting odds are pretty low on this. But do you think you could get red, blue, gold, and silver if at a push?
I could get red and blue. I could get most of gold and silver.
Yeah,
because the only one I got properly obsessed with was Heart Gold. When I was reviewing
it's the best Pokemon game.
Because I very much I was like that seems to be my habit is like unwittingly stumble into the best game of each series and then walk away from it. It's the only Assassin's Creed I've played start to finish is Black Flag, and I'm like, that's the best one. Sees later. So although I did recently play through 1 for the first time, and that was okay. But so like that was the only one I got properly obsessed with. So I could probably give you the red, blue, gold, and silver ones, and then after that, I'm just like Klefki,
proper Pokemon,
Trubbish. That's it.
Vanillux, Vanillish, Vanillite, Video,
Coolish.
Coolish. Oh mate, a load of my pals were in Japan recently because it's just what everybody does. Like everybody's in Japan all the time, and they came across, and I didn't know this was a thing. They came across Grape Coolish, and I need to get involved. That sounds like the absolute Doug's balls. When I was in Japan, I could only, this is no complaint because I think it's delicious, but I could only ever see vanilla Coolish, not even like the chocolate or the mixed one that's chocolate and vanilla. But man, I was having a Coolish a day when I was over there. I had to get it inside me.
Speaking of grapes, can I give you a very quick just rundown of the UK grape Fanta,
come on
just
now.
launched? It's good. It obviously, for those not in the know, the UK had this sugar tax, which essentially means that pretty much every drink except Coke, like your main Coke, has swapped out some of the sugar for sweeteners to kind of avoid having to pay this tax. So as a result, all the Fantas, including the new grape Fanta, aren't the same as they are. It's not just sugar, they've put sweeteners in it. So it's about 80% as good as normal grape Fanta. So it's good, but it's got that wee aftertaste that all these sweeteners give you. So
I got a big bottle of the Grape Fanta the other day, and there's just the peak Grape Fanta for me is the Grape Fanta you get for a Coke Freestyle machine. There's one at Showcase Cinema in Linwood. That's basically the only reason I go to the cinema, because you can get a trough full of Grape Fanta, and it's that way that that almost slightly too watery taste of a fountain drink. That's what I want out of my Grape Fanta, but it's hard to compare to the American equivalent.
Yeah. Shame
indeed. According to candymail.co.uk, I can get South Korean Grape Fanta Zero Sugar for £1.99 a can. That's a small can. That's unfortunate. Oh man, grape coolish, and they reminded me of how much I loved those little frozen grape balls, the green and purple ones.
Those are majestic.
Unbelievable. I'm honestly deeply jealous you're going back to Japan so soon, primarily for the snackage. The snackerage in Japan is unbelievable.
The thing is, it's also like, it's going to be hot when I go there, but not as hot as in July when I usually go. So I'm looking forward to it, but also kind of dreading it, because I wonder if I'm going to enjoy the grape balls and other things like that as much as I would when I'm dying and need them. Like it'll be more like a treat this time rather than a survival tool. Like we were in, I've said this before, we were in Tokyo Disneyland, Disney Sea. There was these kind of what do they call the grapes there? The different kinds of grape. I can't remember. They've got like a weird grape-like fruit, which isn't grapes but something else. And they had those in like slushies, and you would literally put them on the back of your neck to melt them after like 30 seconds, and then drink them, and they were unbelievable. I can't.
Lychees?
Japanese. No, it's a flavour they have all the time in Japan.
Oh, yuzu? Oh, Muscat. Kevin Muscat.
Kevin Muscat. But yeah, the Muscat slushies in Disneyland are lifesavers. But yeah, so this time I'll be picking them just because I like them rather than because I need them. So,
well, it was like when I was there, it was kind of ideal because it wasn't warm, but it was super bright. It was like cold and mega bright, and that's like ideal for me. When I famously, a weather soothsayer Storm for the X-Men, Andy Robinson, tells me that when I go back in September, it's going to be Typhoon Lagoon over there. So it would just be a pleasure to ingest as many grape balls as possible. But it's just going back to the hotel for like a little break, going past the 7-Eleven or the Family Mart. Have you seen these Animal Crossing Family Mart socks that they've got at the minute? You need to pick up about 90 pairs. I'll send you as much money as you need because they look immense. Those Family Mart socks get a lot of play in this household.
The thing, like, so I know we keep going on about Japan about this a lot, but when I'm browsing for news stories of a morning, I'll go to my various kind of tried and tested Japanese PR repositories and all this kind of stuff just in case, because you never know. And it's like every week it's like, oh, here's a crossover that this game's doing with this shop, but it only lasts a week, and you're like, oh. So I'll be excited about those when I'm just about to go because of things I'll actually be able to capitalise on. But most of it's like, oh, this random houseware shop is doing a bunch of the greatest Kirby mugs you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll never be able to get them. It's the limited time thing in Japan where they really go crazy with, you can only get this for 2 weeks. Does man out in.
Here's a Parappa the Rappa pop-up shop in Parco that's there for 10 minutes.
Don't do that.
Brutal.
Devastated.
Speaking of Parappa the Rapper and PlayStation, story number 1. PlayStation is letting one player win the chance to be scanned and appear in Gran Turismo 7 in its new player base program. The player base, which will be available to players in select markets in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, South Africa, and Australia, will let players be featured in select first-party PlayStation games. Players can visit the PlayStation website where they have to sign in with their PSN ID and answer some questions about their experiences on PlayStation. Sony will then select a limited number of finalists who will take part in video interviews where they speak more about themselves and their connections to PlayStation. Chris, they're going to put an absolute throbber in this game.
This was like an entire monkey paw, like unraveling as I read through this thing, because at first the gimmick as it sells it on the PlayStation blog website is you can now get put in games.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, brilliant. I can finally put myself in MLB The Show, the only PlayStation first party game I want to be in. And they're like, oh yeah, but you have to apply for it first. Okay. Oh yeah, but then you have to do an interview, like a video interview with us to see if we think you're suitable. All right. Oh yeah, and then only one of you in the world is getting picked. All right. Oh yeah, and it's Gran Turismo. You're going to be in a lot. Jesus Christ. There's a monkey paws get 8 fingers.
The thing that doesn't make sense to me is loads of games like you scan them yourself in. You've been able to scan yourself into NBA 2K for like 20 years at this point. Tony Hawk
and the PSP. Like you do it. So I don't get the game. But people have taken it to other extremes. People are going, oh, Sony just wants your data.
They've already got your data, mate.
I know, you're just signing into the same thing you always sign into. You like 5 people will get a video interview. That's the only extra data they're getting. I don't
care if this isn't popular, but I have absolutely no time for that kind of stuff because to me it's the same people that are like, see if anything happens, like when another mention of the Glasgow Central Fire, but when the Glasgow Central Fire happened and people are like, what are they not telling us? What's really going on? How did this start? I don't actually believe that a vape shop full of small bombs could catch on fire, and it's like I know that we live in a terrible world, and it's easy to see why maybe people that don't have a lot of critical thinking skills can be easily like wound up to high dough and assume that everything's against them. And then like when a few things are actually big cover-ups and conspiracies, it obviously like fuels their like mania. But some things are just what they say on the tin. Sony isn't going to all this expense to get the scanning data of one person. I think they could get a bit more. See if they just said, oh, you actually can already use your own profile picture on PSN. They would get millions more fucking data than like, oh, we'll fly you to LA to be in Gran Turismo to sit in the GT cafe.
Not everything has a grassy knoll.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it just is what it is. At the end of the day, this whole thing's a little passion. They'll get the most attractive person they can find and put them in it. And that'll be it. And it's, even then it's limited time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're scanning them, because they're saying it's a player portrait, which I'm pretty sure are just to be photos that appear. So I don't know what they're scanning them for. You can take a photo with your iPhone and you're in. So yeah, the whole thing, we'll wait and see, because they say they're going to carry it over to more games, and maybe then, who knows, maybe even 2 people will get into one.
Ooh.
and then we're cooking with gas. I don't know. It felt like a massive announcement for a very minor, basically a competition, which the sort of thing you've seen for years.
Next year at the Sony State of Play, trailer starts and it's all kind of epic music. Ho 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 ho! You come out. It's Chris Scullion. He's going through the woods with his bow and arrow. He's like shooting all this magic. He's going, and then from behind him, boy, I appear. It's me and you in the new God of War. We've won the prize. We're in.
But we don't realise that a third person also won, and we're sitting hunting, going, "Who's that in the trees?" And the guy just comes in and goes, "It's Stevie McGee."
Kratos, go and get him. Go and shoot him, Kratos.
Go and shoot Mars.
Oh, Jings, look at the size of that guy.
I just signed up to be in this game. I wasn't expecting to be a target practice.
And then the boss appears. Hello. Hi, Kratos.
Don't. Oh, hey. It's Jim. Right, no, we can't do it. Every time it's just us, but it goes a bit weird, so let's read it in.
It's me, Zeus. Anyway, I think I think this is ridiculous. I think we're maybe making too big a deal of it because it's just announced on the PlayStation blog. But when PlayStation posts something at like 2:00 on their socials and it's something new, it's like always something bizarre, man. It's always something so weird. Microsoft need to get their arse in gear because I'm sick of PlayStation just doing all this stupid shit because they're bored. It reminds me of when Big MC Hammer, Mark Cerny, was saying that he's going to get scans of people's ears to make audio better, and it's like, mate, you have got it too easy. You should be worrying about your games being good rather than scanning ears. But
imagine they mixed up their documents and you're sitting in the cafe in Gran Turismo with some big massive ear walks through the door.
It would make that game way more interesting than it currently is. Shout out to the GT Cafe. In my research of the GT Cafe the other day following this happening, did you know that they made a real GT Cafe as like a influencer activation? Weird we didn't get an invite. We've probably promoted the GT Cafe more than any other broadcast in the world. But alas, do you ever mess with that, like scanning into game stuff? I did it on NBA 2K once, and it actually worked quite well. But it's just, I don't want to see my face. Usually when I'm playing NBA 2K, I just make Troy Bolton for High School Musical.
The problem is when I was doing it, the tech wasn't ready yet. So I was doing it in NBA 2K and it was constantly going, you need to use your phone to take a photo of yourself. It's good. Make sure the lighting's great. You need great lighting. I'm living in Scotland, mate. I've got a 60-watt light.
Jump in your studio, mate. Jump in that big dome. Jump in the volume for the Mandalorian.
I should have used the studio. I should have used my studio. Shit. But yeah, so like it would inevitably, I would scan my face on like my whatever the best phone was at the time, but it was still nowhere near good enough for this. And then it would scan in, and it would take like 20 minutes to figure it out. And then I'd end up with like a pure white face, like a zombie, and then like a tanned circle of skin around my face, and it was just like hideous. I'm sure, I dare say now, if we did it, if I tried it now in the new NBA, I would hope the tech's improved, maybe even a cheeky wee bit of the old AI to kind of blend the skin properly and actually put it in your face properly. If you can if Grok get into bother for doing what you want with random photos of people you import into it, surely you can import your own face into NBA and it could properly put your face into a character model without any kind of joins or anything like that, and make it look quite. That's a good use of AI instead of all the garbage.
When it comes to NBA, the only AI I'm interested in is Allen Iverson. Thank you very much. Next story. Nintendo confirms a summer release date for Rhythm Heaven / Paradise Groove. This is going to be $33.99 when it launches on July 2nd. Chris, why are they still keeping this weird naming convention? What's your feeling on this? Because no disrespect, no one apart from the hardcore really knows this series, so they could call it whatever they wanted. So it's weird to keep the everybody's golf / hot shots motif going.
I don't understand it. I mean, for those who don't know, it was called Rhythm Tengoku in Japan, which translates to Rhythm Heaven. So when it came out in America, they went, all right, Rhythm Heaven, that's fine. But then they brought it out in Europe, they decided, no, it's going to be Rhythm Paradise. And people were saying, what is heaven banned in Europe? Blah, blah, woke. But I think in reality, I saw someone explain it recently, I think just the word paradise is more easily translatable among different European countries because it's generally paradiso, whereas heaven, I think, looks wildly different in different countries in Europe, I think, as I understand it. Like the translation is like a completely different word, whereas paradise roughly sounds the same, so it's easy enough to tweak the logo for each region. I think that is really all it comes down to. I don't think there's anything more sinister than that. Certainly because Nintendo's got a history of banning religious stuff in North America and not anywhere else. So if they're allowed to say heaven in North America, I dare say they're allowed to say it everywhere else, and there must be a different reason behind it. But the important thing is that the games are amazing. My fear is just whether playing it on TV, because the Wii game suffered for this, is the Wii game didn't have any audio sync option. So if unless your telly was like amazingly perfectly in sync, you were gubbed.
You can line up like Guitar Hero or anything like that.
So as long as that's, but the fact you can play it on handheld, then we kind of eliminates that. But we'll see. I'm excited for it. It's always been one of my favourite series.
We need to talk about it. Did you see some of these Nintendo opinions that were getting thrown about in the Discord yesterday? VGC Discord, you need to join it if you want to actually burn your eyes out your skull. Multiple people saying they didn't like Super Mario Galaxy. That should be disqualified. That should be disqualifying for being part of like public. You're a danger to the people around you if you think that.
I don't know. I mean, each to their own, but
it's Mario Galaxy.
It's objectively wrong. Objectively wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to engage with people like that, because it's like if you know when they on the news they're like, this person's armed and dangerous, they could have 99 knives, which a great Konami RPG. don't approach them. That's how I feel when someone's like, "Oh, I don't like Super Mario Galaxy." It's like, what? What is your moral compass? What would Mario do? You know, what do you think about like the sanctity of life if you don't like Super Mario Galaxy?
What was Jesus' favourite game?
I don't know. What was Jesus' favourite game?
Super Mario Galilee.
Good. Oh, what was Jesus' favourite game?
Go on.
Picross.
Mine was tasteful. Yours was just crass.
How was mine crass? I didn't say what was Jesus.
Because you're bringing up the place the boy died.
Or did he? He clearly came back
briefly.
He rezzed. His mate's got his
new game plus.
Yeah, his mate's got his respawn token and took it to the van and brought him back. Took it to the van, got a 99, and for the van, I used to really love, you know, like those gummy smiley faces you would get.
The big giant ones.
So they're like, kind of 2 pence sized, maybe a bit bigger than a 2 pence. Yeah, and then at one point, this boy that ran the van, the Pardussi van in Paisley, big blue van you've probably seen go past, had like sugar covered ones, like sour smiley faces, and I've never been able to hit that high. Whenever you see a sugar covered smiley face now, it's just sugar covered, so it's not got like the citric acid or whatever makes it like proper sour. It's sad. You
wouldn't have been around during the whole clown van crisis, or was that an urban myth that repeated over and over again?
Regale us, because there's no news this week, so talk about whatever you want.
So during my primary school days, there was a rumour going around that a blue clown van was coming about, parking outside the school and stealing the kids. So people were terrified any time a blue van drove past, of which there are many in an industrial town such as Coatbridge. All the kids got terrified and tried to run into school. They got to the point where they had to bring a police officer to the school to basically tell everyone, this is pish, by the way, don't worry about it. So yeah, the police had to basically come and do interviews with kids who'd claimed that they saw their pals getting stolen by the blue clown van, even though it was complete fiction. So the police, I feel bad for whatever police turned up that day, PC Plum, going, I'm going to have to interview these 7-year-olds while they make up stories about their fake pals being stolen by clowns. And
of course, the problem with a clown van, the amount of kids you can fit in that, unbelievable. They just kept pulling them out over and over and over again. They couldn't believe it. 40 or 50 of them in there.
And probably, of course, in Coatbridge in the 80s, like the combination of the weather and the alcohol, like everyone had a red nose, so you were always kind of worried.
I put up a TikTok the other day talking about G-Force, because I was thinking to myself, I was like, where would I even get an early game these days? So I just put up a wee TikTok talking about it, and a lot of people were saying that they went to the G-Force in either Clydebank or Motherwell, and I didn't realise there was multiple of them. To me, it was always the one on Union Street, the wee silver bags, and they were like, not only was G-Force obviously famous for, like, I mean, they're completely out of business now, they broke Street Day all the time, everyone knew this was like a well-known thing in Glasgow. Apparently they had like an amazing import scene as well, and it's like, that's sad. Like, it'd be cool if there was still an import game shop in Glasgow. Glasgow's a huge city. The fact that there's like one game shop I can think of, Gamer Chic and Buchanan Galleries, that's like, I feel like there should be way more.
Just for those new to the podcast, when we're talking about G-Force, we're referring to the late independent video game shop in Glasgow, and not the Walt Disney Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer films animated movie about guinea pigs.
Pause right there. I'm such a stupid bastard. I was literally about to say, what, the film about hamsters? Of course it's guinea pigs. It's called G-Force.
Otherwise it would be H-bombs.
Yeah. I hear that's actually what took out Union Street. It wasn't a vape shop fire. There was another one that people kept saying, was it CA Games or something like that was in Ashton Lane or something like that? Where were you? Where were you picking up your titles, apart from the Barras, obviously?
I was picking up, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a mom and pop indie game shop in Coatbridge, actually, next to Airdrie Savings Bank. I don't know why there was a bank with Airdrie on it in Coatbridge, but and they were wildly dodgy. That's where I bought. That's where two of my most famous transactions took place. That's where I traded in a Mega Drive and 103 games for an N64 and Mario 64,
nice.
Nothing else. And it's also where I bought pirated copy of WWF SmackDown 2, like when it came out in America, long before it came out here, and then had to play it in black and white for weeks because I didn't have a SCART cable in my telly. The glory days. But the fact that an actual shop would happily under the counter sell you pirated games was the glory days.
The thing that never made sense to me about GeForce is that surely, like, distributors and publishers knew, like, surely they were getting their games in such a way that it wasn't traceable, that it was the distributor was selling to GeForce, because it wasn't just like, oh, if you're in the know, like my local game center, God rest it, would help out their regulars. If you catch my drift, GeForce did not give a shit. They were just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. We'll charge you an extra tenner for it on the couple of days on the lead up. But obviously, people were like, an extra tenner to play fucking Halo Reach early. Absolutely, mate.
I suppose it's because that was so early in the online kind of scheme of things that nobody was streaming it on Twitch.
Yeah.
Or like spoiling it and spoiling that much about the game. So I suppose they didn't care that much. Obviously, if it was still kicking a ball nowadays, it would be absolutely hammered with it, like for doing it. But I think back then it was like the amount of harm this is doing is negligible, and we're selling our games are getting bought anyway, so let's just kind of turn a blind eye to it. But I'd imagine nowadays somebody would go there and buy it and just stream the entire thing before it came out, and that would be carnage.
So when I was cutting my teeth in this game, and I was doing my own YouTube stuff with my pals, we were getting games early before embargo, going home, Elgato in the first hour of the game and whacking it up on YouTube, and we got tons of views doing that because it ended up being like the only gameplay on YouTube for a couple of days. And it really came to a ridiculous head when they got shipped Assassin's Creed Unity and whatever Far Cry came out the same time together. However, the Far Cry or the Assassin's Creed, I can't remember which one was in which order, was like 3 weeks too early. I don't know if this was a case of just like Ubisoft had printed all its discs at once, sent all the games. So they gave us this game so ridiculously early that like trophies didn't work. Like basically nothing worked on this game. We recorded so much of it and threw it up on YouTube. It's like, and then all the like, it might not have been Reddit at the time. It was some kind of, maybe it was a NeoGAF or something like that. We're like, oh, this gameplay's popping up for fucking Far Cry Primal or whatever it is. Where is this all coming from? And it was just us sitting in my mum and dad's house in Paisley recording terrible bitrate footage of this game and throwing it up.
At the time, you would have had press going mental at the publishers going, how are these shit munchers getting it, and we've got to deal with the embargo? How come they've got to break embargo?
How Split Orange Games getting these games so early when we don't even have
just dox yourself?
Yeah,
see you in court.
Sadly the channel has been rebranded. I wonder if there's literally any remnants of me being, because the Split Orange Games thing was funny because essentially when we were in like fourth year, me and my pal Fraser, and we're like, right, we both want to be game reviewers. We're going to start a wee blog. So we did, and weirdly, serendipitously, around this time, Capcom had a Super Street Fighter 4 preview event in Glasgow, but it was like, you could just sign up for it. You didn't have to be like accredited press or anything. So we went when we were like 16, going to Split Orange Games, and we're like, oh yeah, here we go, Split Orange Games. We're doing our Super Street Fighter 4 preview, and then we started doing it on YouTube, and we would largely just post gameplay videos and a load of FIFA mints, and then a format that I loved that I don't think I could stomach anymore. We used to play a game where we'd play the latest WWE game, and every time you got hit with a finisher, you had to take a shot. So we just get absolutely battered like every month for a pay-per-view. It got really bad during the Royal Rumble because it was like every elimination take a shot.
Oh, yeah, everyone.
And then we would do that, and we would do that. And then as I was getting a bit older, I was like, okay, I want to take this heavy seriously. We went to EGX, got a press pass, rocked up to the Guitar Hero Live. Is that the one that was like the reboot with they had a massive amplifier for Guitar Hero Live, and up the top of that was like the press area. This random boy who was working there came past, and we were like, oh, we're press. And they went, oh yeah, come in here, mate. Took us up to the press bit, gave us a demo of the game, gave us like beers and stuff like that. And I was, oh, we're in now. We've cut our teeth. And then after that, I was like, oh no, I'm going to take this hyper seriously. And then the other folk were like, this maybe isn't for us. And they went off and did their own thing. But those were the days, man. Like trying to just get a leg into this industry when you're like so desperate to do it, but you're too young to really do it, and you can't get experience anywhere. So you're like, fuck it, let's just do the YouTube thing. Let's be totally self-made. And it was weird thinking about it now, because I remember being that age and thinking, man, there used to be so many more websites and magazines where I could get a job. And now, compared to what it was like back when I was 18, there was thousands of websites and thousands of employed games journalists. And now it's me, you, and nobody else. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how much it's
that's the tricky thing, is because I'll still to this day get a lot of people saying, how do I get into it? And it's like back like when I was starting, I had advice.
Yeah.
And it was like, do this, do that, make your own blog, write in it as much as you can, and just write about the stuff you care about, and use that to improve your writing skills without being judged, because you don't need to worry about someone saying that's not good enough. You just can get better on your own terms. And you've got 5 articles you like on your blog, send them to the website and say, look at this, what do you think? That's all gone. Yeah. But you can't do that now. The number of slots are so small. There's so few that it's like, I don't have advice anymore. You just need to kind of literally throw something at the wall and hope that it's one of the few things that sticks, because it's so difficult to do now. And it's because it's a job that everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the idea, although it's never quite as easy as that, the idea in the head is, oh, you get to play games for a living.
Yeah.
It's like, well, obviously there's a lot more to it than that. Otherwise, like, anyone could do it. But can you hear my kid in the background? Is she
barely? She's going to smash a chair over your head like Homer when he's in the bath.
Don't have kids, folks. Because one day they might mildly interrupt your podcast, and that'll be it. No, yeah, it's so difficult now to get in. It makes me kind of more grateful that I'm still in it. Like, next month, I'll be going very heavy on the fact that it's my 20th anniversary. I'll be boring you like to tears, like constantly reminding you that I'm now a 20-year veteran, so I'm nearly there. So prepare for that annoyance. But I can't imagine anyone getting into it now and being in it for 20 years, because it's crazy the way it is just now. It's not great.
Yeah. I feel like I very much feel like I'm in the last intake that will have, like, and to be completely honest, virtually no one who started alongside me is still doing this, or is still doing it at like a fully employed level. And I have a weird perspective on this, because if I worked virtually at any other website, I'd be one of like the most experienced people there. But because I've decided to latch myself to the fucking old people's home, it's like you and Andy have got like 5/7 years on me. So it's like, oh yeah, still cutting my teeth. And it's like, no, I've been when the PSX comes out, that will be my 3rd generation kicking off doing this. So it's like, it's a weird one. Yeah. The other thing is, the slots are so few, and you're competing with journalists who have just been sacked from like the other biggest websites in the world. So if you're a new journalist, like you've got absolutely no chance. Like, it's so bad, because you're competing with someone who doesn't just have like, oh, it used to be good enough to have like a couple of good wee freelance bylines and like, oh, they've got a bit about them, maybe we'll take a chance. It's like, no, this person was actually a staff writer for Polygon for 6 years. Like, they're ready to go. They can start tomorrow. There's no scope to take a chance on anyone anymore. My advice is do what I do, and didn't have a massive argument with Andy in the DMs before he ever hired me, and then pray that you get a console before launch and you can review a couple of games for him, then everything works out in the end.
That tends to work. Burning bridges does work.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Do that.
I do think of myself as the CM Punk of professional games journalism. So, and Andy's the Vince McMahon, obviously, for reasons we won't get into. After the break, we will be talking about Forza. We will be talking about James Pond. It's the only reason Chris is here, so we can talk about James Pond. And we'll be talking about Pokémon Champions during this break. Why don't you go on the website and get your tickets for VGC Live? Still a few tickets left. It's unreserved seating, so it's not like you're buying your tickets and you're going to be up in the nosebleeds. You're not going to be up in the gods. The only reserved seating is for our high tier Patreon members who have spent literally thousands of pence on us Shay will be sitting on like a raised platform in the middle of the audience, mainly so we can throw apples at him from the stage.
She'll be sitting on my lap. He's contributing so much that he'll be like a twisted Santa Claus situation.
For more bonuses like that, check out patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Chris, pour one out. The James Bond IP owner has opposed an attempt to trademark 90s parody video game character James Pond. The original James Pond underwater agent was released in 1990 and was followed by the far more popular James Pond 2, codename Robocod. Although it was followed by other titles, 1993's James Pond 3, Operation Starfish, and the minigame spin-off The Aquatic Games, the James Pond series essentially ended in the mid-90s. Look, it's been reported that James Bond himself, is Amazon that owns James Bond now? Like the holding company, the Dan Jack LLC is basically stopping whoever owns James Pond now from trademarking it. This is a weird one because the James Pond thing is surely covered by parody, but I wonder if they're like overstepping what they were trying to copyright it for.
I think the situation is, as I understand, I'm not well versed in trademarking. I don't think they trademarked it that much back then, or the trademark expired or something. So in the 90s, you could get away with parodying more stuff without people going, wait a minute, that's a bit close to the bone. So they just did James Pond as a spoof James Bond game where you were an underwater fish, a secret agent fish. And people went, I get it, it's maybe James Bond. And then they just got on with their lives. And then they did the Robocop one the second time. Oh, it's maybe Robocop now. Ho, ho, ho. Don't know what Operation Starfish was. I do know what it was, but I don't know what they were trying to parody.
Operation Starfish! You were playing as Fred Durst.
Probably some blue movies in there.
Oh, bit of blue for the dance.
But so now they've started this attempt at bringing him back. And from what I gather, it's an ill-fated attempt. The guy who originally created James Pond, James Sorrell, he's called. He wants nothing to do with it. Yeah. So this company, Gameware, have basically shared the rights now with System 3, and they've went, let's bring James Pond back. Everyone remembers and loves James Pond with gusto.
We're never not talking about James Pond, honestly.
Listen, I've got a robotic suit on right now in memory of James Bond. It's just the lower half. I could press it any minute and go right through the roof. So the Gameware's making a new game called, let me get the name over here because it's very important. It's called James Pond Rogue AI.
That's not even where's the pun?
It's been promoted with AI artwork as well, which is what's made this James Sorrell guy come out and basically say he called it lazy AI generated bullshit. That's a direct quote. He said he didn't hold back. He was interviewed last year about Gameware and said, this is a quote, "I hate almost everything they do with a passion, all the more so since they duped me into being part of their shambolic Kickstarter campaign all those years back, and I stupidly allowed my name to become associated with their bottom-feeding enterprise." So he's split on it.
He's also doing more puns than they are. Bottom feeding, that's a fish pun. Come on now.
These
AI boys are floundering, let me tell you. He's not sold. There's another one.
Sold.
Come on now.
But,
time and place.
So
Come
Sorrell's
on.
not happy. Sorrel seems to be the hardest word.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not going well. And yeah, James Bond himself, Jim Bond Productions has turned up and said, lads, don't do this again because you got away with it last time, and now nobody's laughing anymore. Yeah. Chase yourselves. So we'll see. They're not going to have to basically defend it because they've opposed the trademarks, and now System 3 and Gameware have got to prove, look, their argument is, look, this has been going for decades now. It's its own thing. People know what James Bond is. They don't associate it with James Bond anymore. It's its own thing. Get a rest. But
I would like them to do it in a kind of Family Fortunes style, where it's like, we asked 100 people, do they know James Bond? And then they get Liz Dennis to point up at the thing.
Here we go. Get ready to clip it.
Who was David Bowie's favourite TV presenter?
Go on.
Liz Dennis.
Shit.
Oh, come on now. We have fun here. That's the kind of writing that would get me a job in the 90s, working on James Pond. I was actually while I wasn't listening to you, I was looking up names of fish to try and like work some good comedy out there. No fish starting with the letter I, because I was looking for an AI kind of thing, but I couldn't see any that worked. It's a lot of haddock and halibut. And
Terry Christian once said that he owed a lot of his career to David Bowie.
Oh, really?
Because David Bowie helped him. Like, Terry Christian was he started as a kind of music journalist and befriended David Bowie. Just keeping a straight face here. And David Bowie befriended him and basically started going around all the TV companies saying, this guy's actually quite charismatic. He could be a really good host of a TV show. And one thing led to another, and Christian did indeed get TV hosting gigs and that, and he attributes a lot of that to David Bowie. To the extent that when he and Bowie were at parties, he would bring people over and go, point at Bowie and go, your face to face with the man who sold the word. And then that was good.
So long for a joke.
So long for such a bad
that only works if people know about the word and know who hosted the word.
And the man who sold the world.
Jesus Christ.
Thanks. I'll be at the Edinburgh Playhouse from June the 5th.
So you're not part of the Fringe? They couldn't book you for the Fringe. They
like, couldn't afford me.
Yeah,
they couldn't afford me.
Oh, shout out. I got a DM at 3 a.m. this morning from one Christopher MacArthur Boyd, who said that after his show in Sydney, Australia, someone came up to him and said they loved him on VGC. So if you're listening, Australian person, shout out to you. Good day, etc. So yeah, lovely stuff. We need to rendezvous with CMB, but he's been in Australia because he's good ladies Australian, so he's been there for like a month at this point.
He's a busy laddie. That's what he gets for being good.
We are definitely running out of time with him, because it will get to the point where he's like, oh yeah, it was nice to see you. Oh, I would love to, but the calendar's so busy, kind of thing. Like, we are getting to that point rapidly where he will not deal with us.
I've got a dinner date booked with Terry Christian. Time to mingle with you troglodytes.
Yeah. Speaking of troglodytes, in the comments, Forza Horizon 6 is a game in which you drive cars on barren roads, as far as I'm aware, with terrible graphics. But the game that you showed me looked absolutely banging, and I really want to play it. How much have you played, and tell people about it?
I mean, as far as I'm aware, Forza's a grand old game to play for.
Oh, come on. We're away. You don't deserve, none of you deserve this, honestly.
People don't even support Celtic won't get that, but it doesn't matter. So that I played, we've spoken about this at length in a video which you can find on the VGC YouTube channel. But I played a preview build of Forza Horizon 6, which included 3 or 4 races and basically the open world map to go and explore in. And you can kind of tell when a narrative's been set online with a game when people all jump on one very oddly specific thing and have decided that that's the thing they're all going to pin themselves to, and that's going to be the argument they're going to make to justify them not getting it. And you can always tell the quality of a game based on how tenuous and how pathetic that argument is. For Forza, it seems to be, now that the footage has come out of Forza Horizon 6, the main complaint people are making are the roads are too wide. And that's about as pathetic an argument as when you're doing Tokyo races around a mountainside in Japan, those tracks are supposed to be very narrow. But here we've got you driving down a motorway, which is a completely different bit of the map, and the road's wide. How do you explain that? Well, it's funny how roads work. They come in various widths. I've noticed
all these boys famously work for the traffic authority in Japan. They're out there with those. Remember those, like, it was like a stick with a circle on it, and it would click every time you went past a meter. You would have them in school. They're out there with that on the road, being like, I'm not sure about that. That's slightly too wide. They talk about Japan like they're fucking Chris Broad. These people know nothing about what they're talking about.
and I don't understand why people are getting worked up about this. Of all games, this is a game that everyone will get to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's PlayStation fans being aggressive because this game's encroaching on being better than Gran Turismo 7 potentially, or whether it's Xbox fans
encroaching on. It's
I'm sticking to the embargoes. For all I know, you turn a corner in the finished game and somebody just shits through the
I've
telly.
not played the game.
Not
I have not played the game. I'm under no embargo. From what I've seen from a streamed YouTube video I was sent, it's better than shitey Gran Turismo 7. Let me tell you that right now.
But I don't know if it's PlayStation fans worried about their best boy getting outdone, or whether it's Xbox fans still in a huff that it's coming to PlayStation eventually, and they're trying to sabotage their own game. It's wildly pathetic, and it's like, we had fucking Deep Throat in our comments, like deciding that, going, oh, I noticed that you're only playing in the in-car view. Is that because in the IGN footage, when you switch to the outside of the car view, the whole game collapses when you try and have a... And so I put footage on Twitter of me driving with the kind of external car view with loads of cars around me when not a drop in the frame rate. There you go. And then suddenly that led to, I had to close replies on that because a million people were replying saying, look how wide the roads are. Look how, I can't believe it. It's like driving through a field. I don't know. Oddly, Japanese people replying to my tweets seem to be the most excited about it. So the people who don't live in Japan are complaining about how inaccurate the Japanese roads are. Whereas I'm now getting loads of quote tweets from Japanese people saying, this looks great. Yeah. I love how you can actually drive through
Mr. Andy Robinson has quote tweeted saying, very authentic to my lived experience. I think...
Man and boy.
I'm very confused about this also because, look, when Fable starts happening, I could maybe see like, okay, Fable is a game that's probably going to be quite woke. Maybe they'll take that line on it and be like, oh, we'll go down. Fuck.
What was I talking about? My daily routine now is waiting until he says something and then holding the button down so that he goes, I'll keep quiet for a while. And then the next day at 8 a.m. he wakes up. He goes, can I talk yet? Morning! And then I run over and turn him off again.
You should.
I was in the shower this morning, so I forgot to turn him off.
Yeah, working him up your shiter. I hate that thing. It's honestly, every games podcast in the world over the past month has been interrupted by, it's 7 a.m. How are you doing? You spent £25 on me.
Everyone buys it because it's the perfect shape, and that's all I'm saying. but yeah,
they hide hash in it. Yeah, I don't understand because like, there's games that you can have an easy angle against, like Dragon Age the Veilguard, for example. If that game was amazing, it wasn't. It was quite pish. There would still be plenty of people who were like, oh, blah, 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 woke, women, gays, all that kind of stuff. But it's a car game that looks really nice. Like, what is the... I don't get it. I really don't get it.
You're right. Like, when Fable, you're already getting it, and you're going to get it a million times. Regardless, let alone the fact you can create your own character in Fable.
Yeah.
Like, presumably. The fact that they're promoting it with the same character over and over again is you're going to get people going, but there's a woman in this, and not even a very pretty woman. This is a disgrace. And it's like...
Boss Nasty, ladies and gentlemen.
Misa say you can go.
Misa thinks there's only two genders.
It's...
Make Naboo great again.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something outrageous there to say, but I'll leave it. But the Forza, like, I think it's because so far it looks so accomplished that they're really struggling to come up with any kind of narrative to go down. It's like you can put a man or a woman in it, so that kills that. Mm-hmm. Although you can choose your pronouns, which I'm sure they'll be a bit annoyed about once they notice that. You can. Oh, Misa not approve of this. But no, so I think so far so good with it. Anyone who's trying to pick holes in it at this point is really, really stretching. Yeah. As long as it can kind of nail the landing, it's going to be one of the best.
The game looks class.
The generation.
The game looks class. I'm really looking forward to playing it. The thing I've been playing this week is Pokémon Champions, which is the competitive battling game where you bring your Pokémon from the main series games in and you play battles. Now, this is launched to some furore, right? This may have been patched already because it took an update today and I don't know if this worked, but listen to this. So you start the game docked on Nintendo Switch 2. Looks quite blurry. Now, the way you fix this is you remove it from the dock, and then you put it back into the dock, and it like triples the resolution. No idea why, no idea how that works, but it's been repeatable and verifiable, so that's a bit weird. There is 186 Pokemon available at launch. People have been like whipping it, being like, oh, there was more Pokemon in Pokemon Stadium 2. However, in Pokemon Champions, they said this beforehand, it's only fully evolved Pokemon or Pokemon that don't evolve. So your base Pokemon and your stage 1s aren't in it at the minute, and they always said that was the case, whereas in Stadium, it had all Pokemon. Fine, whatever. There is one unevolved Pokemon in it. Can you guess who it is?
Is it a Forza Horizon hater?
No, it's a Japanese icon.
It's an unevolved Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. A Pokemon a Pokemon that has an evolution.
Hasn't reached.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, Pikachu then.
Pikachu is in it. Shock horror.
Of course he is.
But so the first set of Pokemon are out, and I've been enjoying it. Like the competitive video game championships, or VGC as it's known, which is confusing, is a very kind of intricate meta game that's fun to watch other people play. Wolf Glick on YouTube makes amazing videos about it, but it's one of those things that's like, how do I engage with this without it becoming my whole life? And Champions is quite a good way to do that, because I'm playing ranked games. I'm playing against other people who know bits and pieces. They know the idea of like, oh, well, you should probably like, you know, when you play a Pokemon game, you're like, if this move doesn't do damage, I'm not going to use it. That attitude has to leave you in Pokemon Champions. You're like using setup moves and like helping your team out and stuff like that. So I've been enjoying that stuff. It's something I'll play casually. It has a little bit of the kind of monetization muck. It's a free-to-play game, but there's a battle pass and there's like cosmetics and stuff like that. If you have other Pokemon games and you have Pokemon Home, you don't need to engage with any of that stuff. Like getting the Pokemon, you can recruit them from the roster ranch to like try Pokemon out, but you don't need to do that if you have Pokemon from other games. It's maybe a bit harder to do if you're just going to be a strict free-to-play player that doesn't have another Pokemon game. But if you don't have another Pokemon game, I don't know why you're playing this. Like there's really little for you here. This is the game they're going to be using at the World Championships in August. Like this is a hardcore thing. I think there's maybe a problem where people see Pokemon and just think, well, it's a Pokemon game. I play Pokemon games. I'm going to dive in here. But this, for me, it's like, see if they released an ultimate, like a Foot Champs only FIFA that was like the hardest of the hardcore. That's kind of where it is. So I've been enjoying it. I'll play it on and off, but there's other fish to fry. I'm playing something else at the minute we can talk about next week, and then obviously games start to ramp up. Chris, I don't know why, but I'm desperate to play that Lego Batman game. I can't stop thinking about it. It's such a weird one.
I'm curious about that one. It's like, well, I played it for about an hour at Gamescom last year and really liked it then. So God knows how much it's going to improve since then. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, the Pokemon Champions is just not my thing. It's very niche. It caters to an audience that cares for a very specific part of Pokemon. And it's just not, to be honest, the turn-based battling is my least favourite part of a Pokemon game. So fair play to people who are into it. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'm curious more about this bug to see how that's going to get fixed and what the implications are just now. Whether if it starts bad and then you take it out and put it back in and it's good again, does that mean the bug is going to remove the good one, the good version, and say, sorry, so it was supposed to be like shit? Or are they going to... Has it turned out that this bug has actually been melting people's switches because it's not supposed to be running like that?
I like the idea that it gets better and better each time you do it, so you can remove it and put it back in, and it gets to like 8K, 16K, and your Switch is like on fire by the time. The Charizard looks so realistic. It's like Detective Pikachu by the time you get to the end of it. But yeah, a bit more of that. I'm playing a bit of that. Still playing a bit of XD Gale of Darkness using the old GC, the old GameCube controller. I'm playing XD Gale of Darkness, and then I'll put this away, and then when Coliseum comes out, I'll use it again, and then it will be getting volleyed into the river cart because I'll never need it again. But I miss miss is a weird one because we'll get it again soon enough. But the excitement of when Switch 2 was happening, and every time something was going up for pre-order, everybody was just like, I got this. That stuff's fun. Like, this is tangential, but I saw a thing last night, and I don't know where it was from, don't know the legitimacy of it, but people were saying like, oh yeah, PS6 and Xbox Helix are like late 2027. Disregard the fact that I think that's insane, because I don't think that will happen because of chip shortages and stuff like that. I feel like I know for a fact that when new consoles happen, when both of them start to like get released and stuff like that, I want both of them. I'll try my best to get all of the stuff, but because of how much stuff is now, it's not like when the PS5 was coming out and the Xbox Series X was coming out, controllers would go up and it'd be like, oh, it's 50 quid to get an extra controller. Fine, just get one. It's like, it's going to be like 120 quid for a controller now and stuff like that. It's like, it was never an impulse purchase, but the impulsivity of extra wee bits and bobs has never been less viable now, and that makes me quite sad.
I don't think we need a new generation yet.
No, definitely not.
It's taken so long to make games just now. It's weird because they've been out for what, 6 years, however long they've been out for now. It still feels early, like in their life, which feels it's ridiculous to say, but and like you say, the price is going. I know that occasionally an argument's made on here that people spend a lot of money on a new phone every year, but they don't. Like very few people buy the £1,200 iPhone. Like a lot of people are just happy to go with like a £400 or £500 Android, and that's their phone because they don't need like the best. That you're getting to the point where the Pro, the price you would expect to pay for like a Pro is becoming it could be the base rate going forward. If you live in a world where the only mobile phones you can get are £1,200, that's problematic. And when you don't have budget options for people who can't afford the most premium things, that's going to be problematic for the next gen, because a lot of the games that sell millions of copies because lots of people can afford those systems and those games. And if you're asking like a quote unquote normal family with a regular kind of average income to drop £1,000 or more on a new console and then 80 to 90 quid on games for it, you're going to get very few million sellers next generation until that gets changed.
I just don't see why we need a new generation. Like, there's no, to me, there's like, I'm playing stuff at the minute on the PlayStation 5 Pro, the best deal in gaming, and I'm like, this is blowing my shiny mind to bits. Like, what power am I missing here? Like, I as much as I slag them because I think they make it all up, I watch a lot of Digital Foundry stuff, and I'm like, that's really interesting, and I watch them. The caveat being YouTube obviously crushes stuff to bits and it doesn't look exactly how it looks, but I watched their stuff on the Cyberpunk PS5 Pro patch and stuff like that, and I'm like, and they're like, okay, this is what you'll get on the mental rig compared to the PS5 Pro, and I'm like, okay, like if the PS6 gets me like 10% closer to the mental rig, because the PS6 isn't going to look like the top end graphics card, like that's never going to happen. Like the gap is. The gap is like very, very small for me. So if they're like, oh yeah, you've got 5 more years where the PS5 Pro is going to be your main runner, when all these game companies are still making games targeting like base PS5/Xbox Series X, and you'll get like benefits on the Pro, I'm like, fine. I don't need a new box. Like, there's no part of me that needs or wants a new box right now, and that's me saying that.
The gap's never been smaller. The problem is you're getting to the point where. So I've got a 5090 in my PC, so it looks amazing. I'm really happy with it. But you look at PS5 Pro stuff, and it's like, yeah, the 5090 looks better, but it's not like you're looking at an N64 game and a PS5 game. And you go, look at the difference. It's like, it's negligible. It's stuff like the quality of shadows, and it's stuff like the frame rate. If you're the sort of person, my monitor does 120 hertz, and that's it.
Yeah,
you get people who are like, I can only run it at 200 FPS. I wanted to hit at least 260 FPS. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You're looking at a daft number. 120 is more than enough for anyone. Anything more than that, you don't need it. And I'll know they'll get flamed in the comments from this
I totally agree.
By gadget show aficionados, but your eyes can only cope with so much. 120
is like a great point, because also 120 gives you access to the 40 FPS stuff that PlayStation's been doing, and that is always my choice. I have an OLED, and that it has 120. Like with Spider-Man, the 40 frames a second stuff, and with all the graphic bells and whistles, is great. I want all games to have that kind of mode, so I totally agree. Like the 5090 stuff is like amazing, like technologically unbelievable, but as you say, the gap between the PS5 Pro stuff when companies actually use it. The PSSR2 seems to have fixed a lot of the problems that the first pisser had, but it's not like I'm not sitting here like, oh man, wait till my PS6 gets here, then I'll be rocking and rolling with you, because you put a PS6 game next to a PS5 Pro game, and you'll be like, okay, I can see that the PSSR3 and all this other stuff is like very, very nice, but yeah, I'd be fully in favor of a much longer generation, because who needs it?
So here's I can get it for Xbox. I understand it, mainly because in terms of tech, the Series X and certainly the Series S didn't have any kind of that kind of upscaling AI, machine learning upscaling tech when they launched. Like the PS5 didn't. PS5 Pro now has the PSSR,
the pisser.
PSSR. PSSR. You should say USSR. It's got that now, so it can bump up its games to make them look a lot better. Xbox doesn't have that. So at this stage, releasing an update to the Series X, it's got upscaling, just would sell about 12.
Negative sales.
Exactly. They'll do it. So they need a next generation, partly to bump up the visual detail to kind of to level the playing field, but also partly to push this new kind of move to PC that they're trying to kind of do that. The PS5 Pro kind of negates the need for a PS6, like you say. Switch has got Nvidia's kind of DLSS built into it as well, and you're getting games like Resi Requiem looking pretty good on the Switch.
And it has the magic ability where you take it out the dock and put it back in, and it doubles the resolution.
So Nintendo's sorted.
Yeah.
PlayStation's sorted. Xbox isn't yet sorted.
Yeah.
So I understand the need for a new Xbox. Not the other two.
Yeah.
There's no pressing need for a PS6 or obviously a Switch 3. A Switch 2 OLED would be nice, but that's just a nice to have rather than a need to have.
Yeah, a Switch 2 OLED would be nice, but every time I use the Switch 2 handheld, I'm like, man, the panel on this is beautiful. Like, this is...
People get tore into the screen saying, oh, this is... it's blurry when it moves. It's like,
have you seen an original Switch? The original Switch screen is like a joke. Like, the Switch 2 screen is beautiful. Like, I don't get that whatsoever. It's similar to me, like, the PS Portal, like, that has a beautiful panel on it as well. Like, the quality of non-OLED panels is much, much better now. Like, I think people just think, well, if it's not OLED, it must be pish. Like, that's just not quite the case anymore. Yeah. So, lots to think about. If you'd like to think about other things, you can check out YouTube, where I chatted to Wade Barrett, 5-time Intercontinental Champion. We chatted about 2K26, the run-up to WrestleMania, and the Warlord got a shout-out, which is always pleasing. Thank you to Wade for coming on. After you've done that, if you've not already watched it, you can obviously check out Chris's interview with Paul Heyman. Get a lot of workers through these doors these days, Chris.
I mean, obviously, we're all waiting for the big Michin interview. That's the big one.
I'm pretty sure Michin plays a lot of games, because I'm pretty sure they appear on Austin's stuff quite a lot. What? No, Austin Creed. So we need to get Austin Creed on this show.
Up, down, down.
Up, down, down.
He's got one of my books. Austin Creed has got one of my books, so like he owes me one. He doesn't. But definitely, Austin, if you're listening, which you all know you are, Austin Creed gives us a shout.
Do you know how
I was watching Stone Cold ET again last night?
Nice.
Every now and then I give Stone Cold ET a wee.
Do you know who I really want on the pod, because he's a massive gamer? Randy Orton. Every time Randy Orton talks about games, I'm like, mate, you nearly play as many games as I do, and I've got a sickness like that. He's a big gamer, but maybe sometime in the future we'll get one of these boys through our barn doors. Chris, when is it you said you're leaving for the open road? Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. What's that from?
It'll be, it's from South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut.
Correct.
One of my favourite films of all time.
Me
the
too.
Greatest musical ever written.
I mean, have you seen the Book of Mormon?
We'll be entertained. Yeah, twice.
Nice.
Love it.
Good.
Absolutely love it.
It's unbelievable. They recently
know how to write a tune, they boys.
Mate, Cannibal the musical, like all that stuff is so good.
Yep.
Trey Parker clearly
a trauma classic.
Yeah, Trey, I think they recently re-released that on like a nicer quality or something. I saw like an advert for a Blu-ray of it, but Trey Parker clearly, much like Seth MacFarlane, and that's the only way I'll compare them, have such a musical like lilt to them that like we have to force music into as much as this is possible.
Anytime he teams up with, is it Mark Sherman, the guy who writes some of the music for their stuff? I think his name is. Let me look it up. Trey Parker and Mark Stone. I think they team up with a guy called Mark with a C, Sherman, and he does their music. I've maybe got the totally wrong name here.
Oh, Mark Shaman. Shaman, yeah.
Very close. Mark Sherman's a lawyer for some reason. But yeah, it seems that he helps them with their songwriting. So when the three of them get together, especially when Trey Parker and Mark Shaman get together, then hilarity ensues in like some of the genuinely best musicals ever created.
Yeah.
But people poo-poo the South Park movie without seeing it. It's a genuinely brilliant musical. Like the songs are genuinely brilliant.
Absolutely. What would Brian Boitano do? I feel like that Mr. Hankey was actually quite good. What did you think of it?
What was very good?
My Mr. Hankey. What did you think?
It was excellent. It was as if he was stinking the room up. One of my favourite episode of South Park, that's not a lot of people's favourite episode, is Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics. Where they just sing Christmas songs all the time. There's some outrageous songs about Jeffrey Dahmer and Princess Diana in hell together, which is, God rest the two of them. Well, one of them.
What is my favourite episode is? The problem is when you start thinking of your favourite episodes of South Park, there's about 19 of them that could all
there's so many.
Fall into it. But I think people who pick like Scott Tenorman Must Die, Posers, is a great episode, but there's so many deeper cuts. Well, not deep cuts necessarily, but so many other episodes that are so class that.
We have to go all the way back to Mecha Barbara Streisand if you want to get deep with it. That was my obsession when I was at high school. South Park. The first 5 or 6 seasons of that, I was obsessed with.
I absolutely.
Basically, until they added Timmy, then I thought it got a bit too crass and threw it off.
But disrespectful. South Park Studios, when they used to like an early vanguard of just putting your TV show on the internet. When I discovered that website, my mind was blown. I watched so much stuff on South Park Studios.
Downloading real player videos of like really bad. That's, I think South Park was amazing for early internet because it looked so basic. You could download real player episodes in like 15 kilobytes a second, and it would still look okay. You could still see what was going on because it was so basic, whereas you couldn't download live action shows or anything. So the right place at the right time, I think, to
HMV at the top of Buchanan Street, across from Buchanan Galleries. I used to go there, and so my birthday is at the end of June, so it's like 6 months for Christmas kind of thing. So it was every 6 months there was like a big present opportunity. It would always be the latest season of The Simpsons on DVD, the latest season of South Park on DVD, and that was like the two things that I was like, I have to nail these down. I had all of them for so long. Those Simpsons DVDs that were all like different colors, but all had the exact same kind of style, where it was like the slide out, but the TV had them on the front of it. Man, animation.
HMV was founded by a deviant German who then moved to Scotland.
Oh, really?
It stood for Hodma Vili.
Patreon.com/VideoGamesChronicle. More stuff coming next week. Until next time.
I just thought that up. I wish I hadn't.
Say guten Tag, Chris.
Guten Tag, Chris.
And we'll see you next week. VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/VideoGamesChronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.